1:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Piraven Varuna program was initiated by the President today. Oxygen remains officially directed to the Peradeniya Hospital. National Epidemic Unit says more than 11.2 million people have obtained at least one dose of the vaccine. CNDIG says 23-year-old who was in possession of 40 kilos of heroin has been arrested in Bandarakama. Bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and New Zealand will be strengthened. In world news, military deployed to help enforce lockdown in Sydney. Piraven Varuna program organized by the State Ministry of Dhamma School, Piraven and Bhikkhu Education was held this morning at the Temple Trees on the patronage of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The President opened the website of the State Ministry. The President offered slippers to bhikkhus of Piraveners in the remote areas and also offered special scholarships. Addressing the ceremony, Minister Professor G.L. Piri said that the prime objective of the Lord Buddha was to create a disciplined society. It is the need of time to renew ethics. The President and the government have taken several measures in this regard. The body of 16-year-old girl who died of severe injuries she suffered while working as a domestic aide at MP Rishad private residence was exhumed this morning. The body exhumed at the Dagama Cemetery will be taken to the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital for the second post-mortem. The second autopsy will be carried out by the three-member specialist medical team appointed by the Director General of Health on the recommendation of the Attorney General. A report of the second post-mortem is to be submitted to the No. 2 Magistrates Court in Colombo in Holsdorf. Senior DIG Aditya Rohan has said a 23-year-old who was in possession of 40 kilos of heroin has been arrested in Bandarakama. Police Narcotics Bureau and Crimes Prevention Unit of Khalsa Division made the arrest this morning in a joint operation. Preliminary investigations have uncovered that this narcotics racket is operated by an individual residing in Dubai in the UAE. Seized heroin consignment is valued around 400 million rupees, the police spokesman revealed. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and New Zealand will be strengthened. The first residential New Zealand High Commissioner for Sri Lanka, Michael Appleton, met the State Minister for Regional Cooperation, Tharaka Balasuriya, recently. Attention was focused to broaden the trade relations with New Zealand. Mr. Appleton has praised the government's move on safeguarding the supremacy of the law and the independence of the courts when he met the Judicial Minister Ali Sabre at the Ministry of Justice yesterday. Justice Minister Ali Sabre has acknowledged the New Zealand High Commission on the program of developing infrastructure facilities in the judiciary network and to reforms of new laws. The Colombo Chief Magistrate Court today released former Deputy Minister Sarla Gunawardena from all bribery cases filed against him. The cases were taken up before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Buddhika C. Ragara this morning. Assistant Director General of Commission of Investigate Allegations of Bribery and Corruption, CIA-BOC, Asita Anthony, representing submissions, told the court that the written approval of the three commissioners of Bribery Commission had not been obtained when the cases were filed. Attorney at law Niroshan Sitawardena, who appeared on behalf of the former Deputy Minister, requested the court release the accused if it is difficult to proceed with the case. Taking into account submissions from both sides, the Chief Magistrate orders release Sarla Gunawardena from 8 bribery cases put forward against him by the CIA-BOC. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The National Epidemic Unit say that more than 11.2 million people have obtained at least one dose of the vaccine by 8:30 p.m. yesterday under the COVID-19 vaccination program in the country. The first dose of the Covishield vaccine was given to 925,000 individuals. The second to over 35,000 individuals. The unit has also announced the Sinopharm, Sputnik V and Pfizer vaccines have also been given to a large number of people. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight. Deputy General of Health Services, President Dr. Hemantha Herat, says there is no oxygen shortage in the country. Sufficient stock of oxygen has been provided to the hospital for the treatment of corona-infected persons. Shortage of oxygen was reported for a short period of time due to the unexpected increase of corona-infected cases. That came to you in Watchlight. On to world news. Military deployed to help enforce lockdown in Sydney. First group of evacuated Afghan interpreters to arrive in the United States. CDC document warns Delta variant appears to spread as easily as chickenpox and cause more severe infection. Australia has deployed hundreds of soldiers to Sydney to help enforce a COVID lockdown. A Delta outbreak which began in June has produced nearly 3,000 infections and led to 9 deaths. Despite 5 weeks of lockdown, infections in the nation's largest city continue to spread. Officials record 170 new cases today. But many have questioned whether the military intervention is necessary, calling it heavy-handed. The lockdown in place until at least 20th of August bars people from leaving their home except for essential exercise, shopping, caregiving and other reasons. The first group of 2,005 entrepreneurs and their families evacuated from Afghanistan is expected to arrive in the U.S. on Thursday. They will stay at the Fort Lee Army base in Washington, D.C. to complete the special immigrant visa process. SLBC program is offered to those who worked with the U.S. government or American-led military forces during the Afghan War, which began in 2001. Threats against Afghans who helped the U.S. have risen amid Taliban advances. The Delta coronavirus variant surging across the United States appears to cause more severe illness and spread as easily as chickenpox, according to an internal document from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The document, a slide presentation, outlines unpublished data that shows fully vaccinated people might spread the Delta variant at the same rate as unvaccinated people. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky confirmed authenticity of the document, which was first reported by the Washington Post. Back to the headlines of the world news. Military deployed to help enforce lockdown in Sydney. First group of evacuated Afghan interpreters to arrive in the US. CDC document warns Delta variant appears to spread as easily as chickenpox and cause more severe infection. That was world news.
Development News is brought to you by Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
The governor of the Sabaragama province, Tikriko Bekadua, says that Pinnavela Panchakarma Ayurveda Centre in the Kagal district will reopen soon for local and foreign tourists. He made the remarks participating in the launching ceremony to develop the centre as an income earnings institution. Plans have been made to establish the unit for treatment for local and foreign tourists as well. That is Development News.
Development News was brought to you by Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
On to sports news. 9 athletes from Sri Lanka will participate at the Paralympic Sports Festival to be held in Tokyo, Japan. 7 in the team are represented by the Sri Lanka Army. Dinesh Priyantha Herath, who had obtained bronze medal at 2012 London Paralympics, is the captain of the Sri Lanka team. China is leading the Olympic medal table by winning 16 gold, 7 silver and 10 bronze medals. Japan is in second place by winning 15 gold, 4 silver and 7 bronze. America is in third place by winning 14 gold, 16 silver and 11 bronze. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A series of workshops on education on the Empower Board of the Small and Medium-Scale Entrepreneurs conducted by the Colombo Stock Exchange is being carried out in the island successfully. Entrepreneurs in Jaffna district participated in the workshop. The program is being conducted in order to promote advantage of registering as front collecting methods for qualified companies for registration. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Palavata Dairy, one of the leading dairy brands in Sri Lanka that locally produces a range of dairy products as sales foreign exchange for the country, has made significant financial turnaround in 2021, recording huge profits before tax, PBT, that year-on-year surged by 148%. 2021, the company has made a profit falling short of the budget profit target. The company's gross profits grew by a strong 180%. That is economic news. And on to the weather report. Met Department says several spells of showers will occur in the Sabaragamu and Western provinces and the Nuwara, Kandy, Galle and Mathura districts. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere in the island. That is the report, and back to the headlines of the news. Piriben Varuna program was initiated by the President today. Exhumed remains of Ishalini are directed to the Peradeniya Hospital. National Vitamin Unit says more than 11.2 million people have obtained at least one dose of the vaccine. CNDIG says a 23-year-old who was in possession of 40 kilos of heroin has been arrested in Bandaragama. Bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and New Zealand will be strengthened. In world news, military deployed to help enforce lockdown in Sydney. That and the news.